What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Kick Ash Podcast. We are here today to take a look at Raw's debut on Netflix. The inaugural Raw on Netflix has finally come and gone. So we will talk about that. Sadly, it is just no we here tonight. I am not live, sadly, as it's obvious at this point once this gets posted. I had a very busy day and I ended up not going into my part-time job this evening, just due to some stuff that came up, and I randomly had some time. But Dynamite is on right now, and I didn't want to really go live when Dynamite was on and talk about Raw. I just felt like that'd be kind of weird and kind of disrespectful. So I have Dynamite on here. It's actually paused. But I don't plan on spending too much time going into Raw, which is another reason why I didn't want to go live, because we all know how I get, right? And especially, like I said, with Dynamite on and not really being the focus of this evening, I didn't want to kind of not necessarily take away from that, but I guess kind of take away from that in the same token. But yeah, so I do miss being live with you guys. It's weird not having the comment section pulled up here, but it does give you a chance to leave your comments still below, and let me know what you guys thought about Raw. Obviously, we'll be going live hopefully within the next few days. I'm still trying to figure out a schedule. It's probably gonna be sometime in closer to the end of this month, beginning of February. Has a vacation that I'm going to be taking here. Some little events coming up here that I gotta celebrate. So I'm going to be doing that for the next 2-ish weeks. My schedule is going to be kind of all over the place, at least during the week. I think my Saturday AM schedule over on Brasswing Media / One True Sport, shout out that partnership. I believe I'm still going to be good Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. In the next few weeks. So TBD on that, but I don't believe anything's changing in that regard. But with all that out of the way, as I was about to say, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that fancy smancy stuff. I appreciate that. But I definitely do, just in all seriousness, I do like when you guys comment, because I like to hear your thoughts and I like to get your opinions. That's another reason why I'm bummed not live right now. But and like I said, it does give you an opportunity to leave your comment there once the video is posted, and I'll be sure to keep tabs on that. And obviously, next time I go live, we can chat about it as well. But I just wanted to get some thoughts off of my brain first, and kind of run down the show. And again, it's not going to be and this actually wasn't really that wrestling heavy of a show, go figure. So not going to take too long anyway, because it was just more of a celebration, right? In my opinion, kind of looking back on it as a whole, it was a celebration of WWE, really. And I think that they did a nice job of incorporating some older footage, and for instance, starting off with the video package that they put together. It was so cool, and I loved. I don't know who the artist was, but whoever, kind of like in and out through the video clips that they had put together, you saw an artist like throwing paint a couple times, and just you could obviously see he's creating some type of mural. And then at the end of the whole video package, once we pretty much go through the history of WWE, and they obviously didn't show any clips that I really recall from other promotions specifically, which they wouldn't have too much access to. But older clips, they showed older footage of older wrestlers as well. Ric Flair was in there at one point. Hulk Hogan, obviously, which isn't that shocking, right? Like, oh gosh, they're like the pillars of wrestling, right? And at least how, especially Hogan, love him or hate him, which we'll definitely be getting into here shortly, which is gonna be fun. But their contributions to the wrestling industry cannot be withheld, as much as you probably hate to say it, and hate to just even give light to something positive in some situations. But like I said, we'll definitely talk about Hogan in a second. Because his reaction, man, that was that was interesting. But I really like how they incorporated a brief history of their version of the wrestling world, right? And I really thought it was cool how they had big curtains, big like white sheets essentially set up, circling, well, like covering the ring. I guess you could say circling. It's a squared circle, right? But on each side of the ring, obviously it's a square. So one on each four sides, like almost like a projector, right? to display the video, and I thought that was really cool. And then at the end of the video, we saw the finished mural and the video, of course. And I was hoping, I was like, "Yo, that'd be dope if they actually painted something and it's like in the ring right now." Of course, it wasn't though. But I'd be really like stoked and curious to see if that ended up being a real thing or if it was just like a video animation or whatever. Obviously, it wasn't complete animation, but if it ended up being like a real piece that they painted specifically, or if it was just like kind of like a spliced in video, like they were doing some stuff with paint, but then like the video itself or the painting itself was like more animated. I didn't pay too much attention to it, but just kind of like talking, thinking about it out loud right now. I'm wondering a little bit more. But yeah, I just thought that was a really cool visual, and I whoever did it, and regardless, props to them. It looked really cool. But as the bang went off, the curtains, the sheets fell, and there was our guy Triple H standing in the ring. And the ring itself, the ring mat was black. It had, what was it, like 8, 9 different sponsorships. Fortnite was in the center, which is pretty cool. Shout out Fortnite. If you play Fortnite, hit me up. Gotta get Jacob Fatu in Fortnite, right? And Tama Tonga. Those two for sure. But that sign made me think about it. And then of course Hogan's beer was on it. And some other stuff too. I think Snickers was on there as well. Prime, of course, but Prime's not in the center anymore, which is kind of interesting. But I wonder if that's just going to be a Raw thing going forward, and if it had anything just in relation to Netflix with their partnerships. Because I don't recall WWE announcing anything specifically with Fortnite. I know that Fortnite has used wrestler skins in the past, but nothing too in depth, unless I'm off, because it may have been before I really kind of got into it. So let me know. But bunch of sponsorships, which honestly wasn't too distracting or tacky looking, in my opinion. It just, especially I guess kind of being used to the UFC, it just another thing, it's just another marketing thing that we just, at least myself, have been, I guess, groomed to be accustomed to at this point, which is sad. Corporate America. But ended with Triple H, saying, "Are you ready?" And I forget who it was in the chat, but someone had predicted that Triple H is going to come out and start with the "Are you ready?" And I didn't even think about Triple H, but of course, and shout out to them, they were right. And I thought maybe John Cena would start the show off just with his vibe, right, and his energy, his song itself, getting people hyped. But if you're not going to have John Cena starting the, a good, what you call it, second string quarterback, if you will, then The Rock is a good backup option, right? Just kidding. But no, The Rock, of course, did make his way out to the ring with the People's Championship title on his shoulder. I still think it's crazy that he has to walk around with the title, but whatever. Maybe it bothers me more than it should, and more than most, but I just feel like it's so extra. Like, you're not, like, yeah, you're the People's Champion. I'm plugging my phone in, guys. Sorry. Yeah, you're the People's Champion, and like, it's a very honorable gesture that I believe, who was it? Muhammad Ali's, God, was it his widow? That's who it was. I'm sorry, it was his widow. I almost said his mom, but I was like, I know it's not. That's definitely not right. But it was Muhammad Ali's widow that gifted him the title. So all respect to the title and to the family and everything like that. It has nothing to do with the title itself. It could be any title. He could be walking out there with anything, and to me, it would just be extra. Like, and it's extra when you're in a field and in an industry where championships are that championships mean you're the guy or the gal, right? So I don't know. To me, just seeing him come out there with a championship, a title, and it's not a championship, it's a title that I understand. It's just, I don't know. It just bothers me more than it should, and I know it's just me. It's just one of those little things, but I don't know. To me, it's just so extra, and it's distracting to me almost. But the cameras that they had, or whether it was the new cameras they have, or different streaming, if it was just Netflix itself, the quality of Netflix, you could totally see dudes' goosebumps, like, before they even zoomed in. It was wild, wild. So of course he loves it, and I just give him shit, right? I give him shit like we know each other, like we're pals, Rocky and I. But no, like, the dude still feels it, still loves it, if he didn't, he obviously would have nothing to do with it, right? So I guess I say that now, and to kind of preface my thoughts for what ended up happening really in his segment. So he came out and he was bringing the title down. He ended up handing it to his two younger daughters who was at ringside. No, it was not Ava. She is still in NXT, the general manager. Rock actually ended up going to NXT New Year's Evil, I believe it was, and I just downloaded the CW app because I don't want I switched packages, so I no longer have USA because I didn't need it, right? Um, but it also took away CW, so I had to download the app, and then you can't watch it live. You have to, unless I don't know how to work the app, which is very possible. But you had to wait until today, actually, this morning time, right? For it to be uploaded. So I'm gonna watch it maybe after Dynamite. We'll see how much time I have. But I definitely want to watch it because I heard it was a really good show and big title changes. So I definitely want to check that out. But I heard like I actually want to pull it up because I have it here. The NXT rating, really quick, guys, is fucking crazy. Tuesday's NXT television show averaged 957,000 for the CW network, according to ProgrammingInsider.com. The viewership count was up from last week's 626,000 viewership on New Year's Eve. What the fuck? Almost a million, bro. Dynamite wishes. Dynamite fucking wishes. And that's wild. And again, it's The Rock, so of course he's gonna boost shit, but like, damn, dude. um, and shout out to ProWrestling.net, Jason Power, for this transcription. In his POV, says NXT finished with a 0.25 rating in the 18 to 49 demo, up compared to last week's 0.15 rating. I don't know why. What I was reading and saying felt wrong, but it wasn't, I don't think. The numbers listed earlier today from another outlet were inaccurate, so the new numbers are listed above. 1 year earlier, the January 9th, 2024 edition of NXT delivered 722,000 viewers and a 0.21 rating for the start of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic on USA Network. I was just fucking shocked that it was almost a million. That's why I wanted to mention it here. Like, what the fuck? Wild. Wild. But back to Raw itself. Rock was in the ring at this point after he gave the title, like I said, to his two young daughters. And it was pretty much what you would expect, right? It was corporate Rock or corporate dream, whatever he's going by, corporate final boss, whatever. I'm not gonna get in depth specifically what he said, but he was pretty much thanking people, and he thanked. In I guess I should. So let me go back a little bit. So Rock acknowledged the high-ranking Netflix executives, including Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos, who was shown in a luxury box. The Rock also acknowledged, and this is where my issue came from and started. Also acknowledged Cody Rhodes and said he's carried the company on his back for an entire year and has done an amazing job. They show Cody just smiling, sitting in the crowd, which is dope. Some people didn't like him sitting in the crowd, but I liked it. He's not a Raw superstar. He is the undisputed blah 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 champion. All the descriptive words, right? But he's not on that show, and yes, I know you can make a mockery of the brand split, whatever. And there's a trade portal, it's shuffling, it's a big show, all the excuses, right? Fine. So yes, you can make a case for not having him just kind of look like a Joe Schmo. But again, if you look at the totality of the night, he was sitting just like other celebrities were sitting, right? And it was a big night, and it was a big field, and it was the atmosphere where if you're somebody, you're there, So that was the kind of vibe that I got, and to me, that wasn't jarring at all. I actually thought that was kind of cool, and it makes sense because Cody's a man of the people too, so. To me, I wouldn't think twice about Cody sitting out there with the fans, really. But not only did The Rock give props to Cody Rhodes, but he also said one more thing to Cody. He said, "Tell Mama Rhodes that The Rock says hello." And Cody laughs. Cody almost falls over laughing. I'm sorry, what? I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was waiting. maybe I'm still here waiting. I saw that and I was like, okay, okay, something's gonna happen. Like this can't be like right. Like this has got to be just like the setup for something that's about to happen or it's gonna happen later in the night. So I'm like, all right, it's still very odd, and I understand. Again, the whole presentation again of the night was the we made it type of vibe, right? And look at us, and kind of like patting themselves on the back, which is to be deserved, right? It's a monumental move, it's a big dollar move, it's all of the above. um but it's one thing if you do it in like a press conference or in like either before or after the show, or even you in an interview or whatever, and you give, if you're The Rock, like you give Cody Rhodes props and stuff like that. But like to do it in the middle of the ring after like the last time we saw him with Cody, I mean, obviously it's been said multiple times at this point, but the visual that stands out the most to people is The Rock beating Cody's ass at in and where were they at? Was it in Atlanta? I forget where it was. Obviously, it wasn't this past Atlanta, but in the road to WrestleMania from this past year now, blooding him up, had the weight belt that had, I think he had Mama Rose's name on it. Mercedes was going to give to Mama Rose, but it was just brutal, right? And the rain was there, which was a great effect, right? That happy accident type thing. But so we saw that, and then of course, everything that happened at Mania itself, Cody won, The Rock being involved, the tag team match, all that happy shit, fine. He finished the story, but then it continued the next night on Raw. Okay, and Rock came out, they had their words, but then The Rock also gave something to Cody. He gave something to him that was small enough to fit in both of their hands. Granted, they do have big hands. But it was small enough to where both of them were able to disclose it and cover it in their hands. So that can only be a number of things, but it can also be a number of things. So, okay. And then we also see The Rock at Bad Blood. Okay. I believe he either held up the 3 or he counted to 3, and then he did the thumb across the neck type thing. That type of gesture. And it's like, okay, again, that makes sense. Fast forward to Raw on Netflix, and they're best friends. Rock is fucking giving him props, saying, oh man, you've been a great champion. You've been the champion we needed. You carried the company on your back. I'm proud of you. Thank you, man. Like, you kick-ass job. Tell your mama said, hey, haha. Like, what? Come on, bro. Come on. It was just too much. It was just too much for me. It was just, I don't know. It didn't sit well with me. And then The Rock, he moves on and says Roman Reigns is the tribal chief and the original tribal chief. Which, hey man, we don't know. The match hasn't happened yet. Relax, Rock. Don't get ahead of us. You're one step ahead, man. One step ahead. He said he would be watching the next match, the of course tribal combat match. Rock told Los Angeles and the Netflix viewers that he loves them and said, if you smell it, da da da. But the worst part after this, Rock then leaves the ring and makes his way over to my guy Cody. And they hug it out. What? I missed either multiple chapters or the whole damn second book because Cody finished his story and The Rock was pissed off, and now they're best friends. And not only were they hugging, not only was Rock giving him props in the ring in front of fucking probably millions of people at this point, especially at this point in totality, because I know Raw ended up being the #1 show on Netflix, their top like 10 TV shows. It overtook Squid Games or Squid Game, whatever the fuck it's called. So yeah, it's up there, guys. It's up there in viewership. So I understand like you wanting to like, if you're The Rock, you wanting to like put on a certain presentation and like be the corporate guy. And again, like he could have done all that shit, but just leave Cody out of it. Don't even acknowledge Cody. Like, Cameron didn't need to acknowledge Cody at that point. We could have waited at all. I mean, maybe wait into the next segment when Roman came out. You showed Cody sitting in the fans, and who knows when he would have been able to get out there. Maybe he just walked out there after the Rocks. You know, of course, it ended like it was back to back, the Rock segment and the Tribal Combat match. But you could have made a case where he just got out there. You know what I mean? But like, damn. And then of course we'll talk about what happened with them backstage in a second here. But I don't know. And again, like it's a lot of like kumbaya, kumbaya, and maybe this is all just like hyping Cody up to cut his legs off from underneath of him. But I don't know, man. It's not even like Cody's reaction was confusion or anything like that. Cody going along with it from the get-go. Because like he was expecting it. Like, of course we're best friends. Like, what? Of course. Like we squashed that shit months ago. Like, we're good, man. We're good. Like nothing ever happened. Like nothing ever happened. So it would have been one thing again, even if The Rock were to say and do all that he just did with Cody. But if Cody was hesitant or resistant or questioning The Rock or like, yo, like what? Like it kind of like I am like, am I missing something here? And that didn't happen. So I really feel like I just I feel like I stopped watching for like a good chunk of time, and I don't think I did. Like I'm pretty certain I've been watching. So yeah, I was just in the land of confusion there, to say the least. And a little, and honestly, guys, a little annoyed. Even though I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait and see, because I was like, surely this isn't how it's gonna be. Like he's gonna attack The Rock, or he's gonna attack Cody backstage again, and it's going to be just kind of again just kind of like hyping him up and making him like almost like a false sense of security, and it just wasn't. It just wasn't. It was just a lot. It was just too much. So after that we had Solo Sikoa making his way out to the ring, of course with the Ula Fala. Got our OTC chance, which is still just so funny to me. And Roman Reigns made his way out. He has some dope shoes, some dope wrestling shoes on. They were like some Nikes. They were sick. They were sick. I meant to go back and take a look at them because I couldn't see exactly what kind they were, but you could tell they were custom made, and they just need to drop that line, drop that tribal chief line, since he's officially our tribal chief now. This match was, of course, what you thought it would be. And with the tribal combat rules, of course, you had your interference with Tama Tonga. But we did have our run out from, I believe it was Jey Uso, if I'm not mistaken. But we definitely had Cody Rhodes. Which again, it's just so. The whole thing is just getting convoluted now. And we had Jacob Fatu, just your usual suspects at that point, right? Jimmy and Sammy came out, but it was funny to me, like all the good guys got their entrance theme and none of the bad guys did, which makes sense, but it was just kind of funny because like Sammy's music hits, and him and Jimmy come out, and it's just funny because like and then Kevin Owens comes out and there's no Kevin Owens music, so it's just funny. But of course, it is what it is, and the expected outcome finally is here. Roman Reigns defeated Solo Sikoa in a little over 20 minutes, I think it was, in the tribal combat match, officially to regain the Ula Fala and to be our tribal chief once more. Heyman is the one who entered the ring. Solo rolled out to the floor, and I hope they don't end up just like pushing Solo to the side, which I don't think they will. I actually think on SmackDown, if not this coming SmackDown, but very soon, I think we may actually see the dissension of the Bloodline 2.0, because Solo's lost like damn near every match and been the one to take the L too. So why is Jacob Fatu gonna continue to just like devotedly follow him? He needs to be the leader. I'm fucking here for it. So I'm hoping we see some C's beginning on SmackDown, if not the full fucking just betrayal. And then we'll go from there. But I would love that. But Roman Reigns got down to one knee. Because Heyman was getting to his knees, you know, to they're both getting down their knees to hold and present the Ula Fala to our tribal chief Roman Reigns, and then The Rock came back out while Roman's music was playing, which I thought was a cool touch. At least they didn't stop Roman's music to play The Rock's again, or just to stop it and to have the full spotlight be on The Rock. I thought that was a nice touch and kind of cool too. But Rock was coming out. Reigns and Heyman saw Rock, so they both stood up, obviously, and like, oh, you know, what's happening? Rock got in the ring though, and asked Heyman for the Ulafala, which I'm like, oh shit, you know what we about to do? Part of me is like, just break it, bro. Just fucking break it. Get really crazy, but of course we're not going to do that, especially not on the type of night apparently we were having with The Rock. But The Rock just ended up putting the Ulafala around Roman Reigns' neck. And they kind of looked at each other for a bit, and I was waiting. But nothing happened. Rock removed his shades. He kind of had like, it actually reminded me of Ricochet's glasses from last week. But like kind of like that serial killer vibe. It was just, I love it. It's just kind of interesting. And he had some stubbles too. The Rock did some great little stubbles, which I loved. I thought it was a cool touch too. But again, all this playing into that sinister look. Maybe I just watched too much fucked up shit. But I was like, man, like this is leading to like something heinous from The Rock. We'll see. At this point, you guys know nothing happened like that. But The Rock again just looked at him. They looked in each other's eyes, and they just like, I think it was just a regular handshake. Yeah, just give a handshake. Just shook it out. Really. They gave each other a hug. Rock told Reigns he kissed the side of his head. Good job, buddy. Good job, bro. And Rock backed up, watched Reigns hold up his finger, you know, get the salute, the acknowledgement, all that good stuff. And that was it, really. Reigns turned, looked at Heyman, who held up his finger, of course. Reigns went to the middle of the ring and held up his finger, and The Rock held the ropes open for Reigns, and that was it. Which, again, I think is a nice touch also. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Something's just not sitting well with me with all this. Saw Punk backstage, which I like the little hype shots that they were showing throughout the night. I thought that was a cool little just big fight feel too, especially with it being the main event. Now I will say I was surprised with it being the main event. I was hopeful, but I didn't think it would happen because to me it's still just a weird choice to start with the tribal combat match because it's a little bit of a slower type of vibe and just more just a lot of shit really that like you really have to sit through, right? And just deal with. And it's not fast paced. I don't know, like not saying that even like a Randy Orton match, for instance, wouldn't be a good opener and fast paced in that, for instance, but just something to the. It was just the heaviest storied match, besides Judgment Day. But obviously the Bloodline takes the cake with the heaviness of the story and the meaning of the match itself. So I don't know. It was just, and not that I would say it would be in the middle, right? Either the opener or the main event, but I don't know. It was just kind of weird to me. Just still a weird dynamic. But going through here, they showed a lot of celebrities in the crowd. A couple standouts, Macaulay Culkin, dude looks great, and fucking Topanga, bro, she looks amazing. Fucking Topanga and Eric from Boy Meets World. So dude didn't get any love, and I'm just very upset by that because he didn't get the love that he deserves. Oh, my dog is having a dream. If you can hear that in the background, sorry. But yeah, so shout out to Eric because Eric deserved much more love, and I don't even think he got a shout out. But yeah, to me, those are the biggest deals. Wale was out there too. I fucking love Wale and O'Shea Jackson Jr. Love him. He's a great follow on Twitter. Shout out to him. He takes no shit, and I love it. And I love it. And it comes with the receipt, so shout out to him. But obviously, the next notable thing was John Cena making his way out to the ring to start his retirement tour for this year. The whole gimmick is that the last time is now, which makes sense, right? To me, this was very, very, I don't want to say corny. It was just very John Cena. And if it was anyone else, it'd be way more cringe than what it actually was. But it's Cena, man, and I get it, I understand. He is what he is, and shit, it's made him stupid money. So who am I to sit here and judge it, right? Obviously it works, but again, with everything pretty much with tonight, I'm kind of just taking it with not, I want to say a grain of salt, but the seriousness I'm not being too hard on or like, oh my god, because it was again a celebratory night, right? Like the focus of the night was to get as many eyes on the product as they can, being on Netflix, to introduce their main stars. I wish they would have had Gunther physically on TV, but I love the video package that they had for him. Um, but it was to really establish the main players and like the backstory that they told on, even for instance, like Dominic, that they really explained who he is, his brief history, and gave you an idea of who this guy is and whether you want to cheer for him or not. So yeah, I mean, I guess Dominic's a little obvious if you want to cheer for him or not, but I don't know. So with Cena, I'll give him a pass on this one, but if he continues this, oh shucks, like, and like tongue in cheek type thing, like I'm not gonna be as hyped for the next year. I want him to take it seriously, and I think he will. I think he will. Again, I think last night was just celebrating, just really getting shit kicked off. And again, kind of what I expected. He was gonna declare for the Rumble. Now my dude needs to be number one. I mean, fuck it, man. If you're gonna say and go through the speech that you did on Raw saying that you really need to earn it, and it's been 2,446 days since he won his last singles match, then you need to fucking earn it, man. Like if you're gonna say all that shit, then yeah, okay. You got me. I agree. You gotta earn that shit. Start at number one. And again, like not saying he really should. I'm just kind of fucking around, but it would make sense, and it wouldn't be that far fetched because the type of character John Cena is, hustle, loyalty, and respect. Like if he's gonna get the championship shot, he's gonna want to earn it. So what better way to earn it than declaring for the Rumble and starting at number one or number two, right? For that matter, it's pretty much the same thing. But I would say definitely has to be a single digit number. I would say 1 through 5 is a good area for Cena. Because it's not even like you have to dominate the match, right? Like you could come in starting off hot, especially if it's in the 1 through 5 slots, start off hot, and then do what everyone really does, take some time, lay underneath those bottom ropes, close to the turnbuckle, you know what I mean? Just take, not completely, but because that would kind of defeat the whole purpose, and to me it's kind of lame, but I get it too, preservation and smarter not harder sometimes. But I think with John Cena, the whole story with this is for him to really fight and earn his way to that title shot. So to me, and again, like, you do want to be careful as well because it'd be fucking terrible if he goes out there and I don't even want to say it, but gets injured. I don't want to give throw a fake scenario, but just gets injured in any type of way. So you do want to limit and be careful with what you do of him, especially so early on in the run. But you still don't want to leave people, especially whoever's not going to Mania and paying or Rumble and paying those ticket prices. You want to make sure they feel like they got the John Cena experience because that's going to be his last time in that area essentially, and for those people potentially seeing him, that's the whole point of if when John Cena is announced in your area to go, because that's if they're not going to come back around or you're not going to another show, that's it. So I'm just gonna wait and see with Cena how, because I think he said he has 36 dates. I don't know if that's 36 like appearances or 36 matches. So that'll be interesting to see as well. But that's a good number. Either way. So we'll see. But I think I'm still gonna hold on if I want Cena to win the Rumble. I'm still gonna wait and give it a couple more weeks and kind of get a lay of the land. But I could see him possibly falling a little short in the Rumble and then going like damn near running the full gauntlet, right? In the Rumble, maybe going from like the early numbers to the end and getting eliminated in Final Four or the Final Two, which would be even more like just heart shattering, right? And then him fighting his way into the chamber and possibly winning the chamber at that point, which we're getting way, way ahead. But there's a lot of fun things you can do about it. But again, it just depends on the amount of actual matches and how those dates line up. So we'll see. Next we had the Women's World Championship match. Liv Morgan, of course, is your champion, defending against Rhea Ripley, who got a fantastic reaction. She's just amazing. Shout out to Rhea, man. She's a fucking star, bro. She's just a fucking star. Like, that's all you can say about her. It's unfair, like how like great she is, and just how like she's one of those people too, and not a lot of like I wouldn't say, but not a lot of people just in general can like get away with like kind of like your natural look, right? And then like how you look within when you wear makeup. So she's that person, right? Like she's just naturally pretty, and it's bless her, but she's just a good person too. Like you just get a good vibe from her. Um and all that, Gucci stuff to the side and like that aspect away, but her character, dude, is just so fucking badass. Like she has really discovered herself, like character wise, and just really fell into the groove, and like you can just tell she's confident, man. Like it's so it makes me happy to see, and it's so refreshing to see too. Not from her specifically, like refreshing, like she was still, but just refreshing as a whole, because it's like it almost connects with you differently when the wrestler is like in a groove, because you kind of like can ride it with them too. So I think that's where we're at with Ripley. Of course, you had your attempted interferences with Dom, with Raquel Rodriguez, but Rhea Ripley outsmarted them all and became your, I don't know how many times, was it like 3-time, 4-time women's champion, 3-time maybe women's champion on the main roster. Yeah, I wish I had that stat because I'd love to know. But of course, she should have never lost the title to begin with. She had to, she was injured, so because of Liv Morgan, which is how this whole revenge tour got started with Dominic, all that good stuff. This story has finally come to an end. I hope. After the match itself ended, Rhea Ripley was celebrating with the title as she should, and then Dominic tries to sneak in. He does sneak into the ring, and he tries to like sneak up on Rhea. He's doing that like down, like kind of like ducking type thing. Rhea, thankfully, sees Dominic, and Dominic's like, oh, like, trying to like act like he wants to give her a hug and congratulate her. Just pretty much give her props. And she's like, okay, yeah, sure. She sets the title down on the mat, and then she kind of opens and extends her arms, and as she like takes a step forward, she just kicks him right in the nuts. It's fucking fantastic. And she gives him a riptide. So I think that officially puts a bow on the Liv, Dom, Rhea, I don't want to say love triangle, but story in the Judgment Day portion. And I think Damian Priest is going to be wrapping up here I was going to say soon and then shortly. So shortly. Shortly with Finn Balor. And hopefully the Judgment Day disbands, because I think it would be good for Dominic and all of them really to kind of just grow and just kind of go on to the next thing, and whether it takes a different variation or what. I just kind of think it's time. And to be fair though, they got way more out of the Judgment Day than I ever would have fucking predicted, and all the variations that they got out of it, because when you think about it, it started off with just Edge and Rhea Ripley, and then Finn Balor, and then, or I'm sorry, not Finn Balor, and then Damian Priest, and then it just went from there. So man, and yes, Edge, like it's fucking crazy, dude. And in that time frame, Edge has already gone over. He's transformed. Now he's Cope. He's Cope, and he's already been out X amount of months with a broken foot, essentially. And now he's back, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy all the time that's passed and how the world has changed. In the amount of time that the Judgment Day has been formed and been together. So wrestling is something, guys. Wrestling is something else. The last shot that we had of Rhea Ripley, though, she was making her way to the back, and then all of a sudden you hear the gong sound, and I'm like, what? And she's pretty much looking the same way. She's looking around. Of course, the lights went out, I think, for a second, and then a different hybrid type of version of Undertaker's theme. It was like American Badass, and I think it sounded like a weird compilation, or maybe my brain was just distorting it. But it was definitely American Badass. And at first, there was, even before he came out on his bike, Ripley said, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that," or something like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Whether she was or wasn't, it was a cool little moment there. Um, and Undertaker comes out from the other side, and at first just rides his motorcycle right by Ripley. I'm like, oh fuck no, dude. fuck no. And I grew up a big Undertaker fan. So I'm like, you are not about to disrespect Rhea like this. Like, you better continue to drive around the ring like you always do and make your way right back up and meet up with her. Don't stop for no promo. Don't do nothing. Like, I was irritated. I was irritated, and then he heard me. He drove his way around and then made his way back up to the end of the, not even the ramp because there's no physical ramp, but the entryway. And Rhea's just waiting there, and I'm like, all right, bet. All right. You saved yourself there, man. You saved yourself. I was about to make my way out to the West Coast. But yeah, so Rhea's there. Obviously Undertaker stops because he knew better. Just kidding. And they kind of look at each other. I don't know what Rhea says. I don't really know what either of them said. But Rhea displays her title. Obviously her back is to us, and obviously Undertaker is sitting on his bike facing forward. And they do the salute, the fist in the air. Rhea's holding her title behind, so it's very cool visual. Very cool visual. And a nice little way to end the segment. So all is well. All is well in the world. Really doesn't make much more sense other than the fact that they're both badasses, right? So, hey, what other reason do you need? But I thought it was a really cool moment for Undertaker too, to kind of like, I don't even want to say put over Rhea, but just to kind of like share a moment with Rhea and just kind of like solidify her again with like the greats. So that was just really cool moment. And man, like I was saying, I was about to be real salty, real salty. But props to them. Props to them. Moving on though, we we got, I'm pretty certain it was the next segment. It had to be the next segment. I'm going through the notes really quick. It had to be the next segment. Oh, no, it was after the Jey Uso match. Okay, so really quick, Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre were up next on the card, and officially, and Jey Uso, of course, did his entrance, which is dope. It's just always a good time, right? If you know, you know. If you're a wrestling fan, if you're watching a show like this, you've definitely seen Jey's entrance at this point. However, we got a nice little addition this this time with Travis Scott, his music playing first, which is kind of cool, and then we see him standing in the, you know, in the stands where Jey Uso comes and makes his entrance at, and my dude is I don't know if you can say smoking a blunt. He's smoking a blunt. I was like, yo, it was actually AJ, but like, yo, I was like, this motherfucker is smoking. Like, oh, I loved it. I fucking loved it. I was just waiting for Jay to grab it. Oh, I was waiting, but he's, you know, probably a smart man, and he didn't. So, and I mean, like, it's not a good look, right, to take a little puff before you go into a match. But I mean, it could calm him down. You know, maybe it'll settle some little, like, little butterflies, a little nerves. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm just saying. But yeah, it was pretty dope. Travis Scott looked like he enjoyed himself and was enjoying the entrance. Jay did his thing, and honestly, the match was what it was. It was kind of, I don't want to say underwhelming because it definitely wasn't, but I just, it just kind of felt out of place, this match on the card. Like, not Jay's entrance or anything like that, but just the match itself. Just, I don't know. And I'm not even saying like I wouldn't want both men on the card, obviously, right? Like I said, Jay, I obviously had a big part with the entrance with Travis. And Drew definitely deserved to be on the show, but like maybe just not a match in between the two guys. I don't know. It was just, I think the energy was just kind of like out of place for the match, and it just, I don't even think the fans were really that into it, to be honest with you. Not that it was like a bad match, but it was just, I think it was like at that point it was kind of getting to be like a long night too, like you're getting closer to that 3 hour, like 2 hour, 2.5 hour mark, I think you were at that point, so, or close to it. So yeah, it's just kind of one of them things, man, which it's okay, you know, things happen. And not to say they can't run it back and have an even better match, which they've had good matches in the past before, so I'm gonna be that pressed. But yeah, man, that Jay intro was with Travis Scott was something special. But then one of the segments of the night, depending on where on where your fandom lies, was Hulk Hogan coming out. Uh Real American Played, guys. And Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart, who still looks amazing, and bless that dude, man. Like, he's got to be what, like 80? 85 or not 85, like 75, 80, gotta be at least 80. Not 75. It's gotta be at least 80, 81, 82. I'd say between 80, 85. Just rough estimate, but like that dude looks amazing and moves amazing. Like it's insane. And I think like yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say I think he's only a few years older than Hogan, but I don't know. I have no idea. um, but yeah, so Jimmy's out there waving the American flag, and of course Hulk Hogan comes out as well, and he just stands in the stage area, doesn't make his way to the ring or anything like that, which probably would have been better, even a better idea, just standing, because then he would have had the visual of the people behind him, giving him all the love, man, just so much love, like, just kidding. There were so many fucking boos, like so many boos that Netflix picked up on it. It was so like I gotta pull it up here. These subtitles picked up on the boos that this guy got. Like, like, yo. I mean, could have happened to a nicer guy, right? Oh, what a shame. Not really. Yes, obviously he was there to promote his real American beer, which was splattered, like I said earlier, across the ring canvas. I think it was like 2 times actually. But he is in a partnership with WWE. Well, his beer, the real American beer, and WWE has like a partnership or whatever, or some type of distribution thing going on, kind of similar to what I think AEW had with Woo Energy, if you remember that from Rick. But yeah, the fans, guys, were booing so loudly that these subtitles picked up on it. Just in case you didn't know, just in case you didn't know, it says it right there for you. Crowd booing, which it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. This isn't a, a video of my thoughts on the good old Hulkster, but yeah, yeah. And again, contributions to the wrestling world, bar none. But yeah, I'm not gonna get into all that fun stuff. Uh, it's not even political, honestly. I really could give a I mean, I care, but I'm not one of those people that'll like disown you if you vote one way or if you feel one way that's either with me or against me. Like I'm not really that person to like completely disown you. I'll ask a lot of questions just because I ask a lot of questions about everything, really. But I just really like to understand mindsets. And I just think it's fascinating to like, especially if it's something that I feel passionate about, to hear like how the other person feels passionately on their side. Like I wish I was on the debate team. I'm just saying. But yeah, like it's not even anything like that. Just like some other shit that we've seen and heard. But yeah, again, not gonna get into all that right here, right now. But this just sums it up for you, his segment. I don't even really need to say anything else, to be honest with you guys. But the main event was such a good fucking match. And again, guys, I got to be careful. I got to be careful showing this picture because I don't want any flashbacks or any PTSD to flare up for certain individuals who may fear for their life at the sight of this beloved jacket, the Triple X jacket. If you don't remember, guys, and if you don't know, which I know you know if you're watching this show, rhymes. This was the jacket, the infamous jacket that was worn during the Mighty Conquest and All In to face no scheduled opponent, but Jack Perry, the vengeful Jack Perry backstage, and the infamous day where monitors went flying and lives were feared and CM Punk quit. And that was it. And then he went out and had a great match with Joe. And then quit. Or then that was the end. He at least had quit prior and then finished his match still. But this was the jacket. But I think also it's just Punk being petty, which I fucking love. But also too, what's cool is obviously this jacket is a callback to his Ring of Honor days, which is also the days that Seth Rollins or Tyler Black would have known CM Punk from and grew up watching and idolizing him from and on. So I thought it was a nice little mental jab from Punk to everyone, really. Everyone between that and the fucking donuts, man, the fucking pastries that he has at these media scrums afterwards is just, I love it. I love it. People say you need to drop grudges and shit, but I love this man. Like the pettiness is just, I'm here for it. I'm fucking here for it. Let's go. And the match was great. I loved the match. I loved the ending too. I loved how um he went for the GTS and Seth was leery and kind of wobbly on his feet. He fell back into the ropes as Punk was on his knees. Seth Rollins fell onto CM Punk's shoulders in the fireman carry position, set him up perfectly for the GTS again. Got the 1, 2, 3. Obviously, the very long story short on that match. You definitely need to go check it out if you didn't watch it. But I really loved this match. I wish they would have even had a little bit more time, to be honest with you. I hope we rerun it back, maybe for a championship on the line, or not even a championship needed, you know. But I just think that these two guys still have a lot left on the table that they can sort through, and they can kind of dig at each other over and just kind of just explore, really. But I think this was such a good first match too, and props to Seth Rollins, man. You know, I sit here and we all sit here and give love to CM Punk, of course, and to your Cody Rhodeses and everyone else that Seth is in the ring with. But Seth is that MVP, man. Seth is that guy who you need in your company. Whatever company it is, you need a worker and someone who believes in your company and believes in what he does, like Seth Rollins does, and the real dude does. You know what I mean? The real dude, Colby Lopez, I believe his name is. The real dude who is Seth Rollins, but he believes in what he loves, because he has lost so many times to so many big names, and I mean, you never hear about him losing his shit behind the scenes or being frustrated or anything like that. And I'm sure that shit gets to him, man. Especially losing to Punk, I'm sure he was not happy about, you know. But it's business, and he gets that obviously. But to not even, and again, maybe he does, maybe he blows up at Triple H, you know, behind closed doors or whatever. But it's at a point where he's professional enough to where it doesn't get out, right? They're professional enough. If and not even say I'm saying like spitballing, right? Because I'm in the firm camp that obviously it doesn't, right? I'm just saying the fact that it's not happening. And we've seen countless just wrestlers come in and even just not new ones returning or debuting or just any feud, like the Fiend, for instance, like just any situation that he's been in and he's received a shit end of the stick, like the dude is always there, man. So I give love to Seth Rollins, to the real dude, Colby Lopez, I believe that his name is. I know his first name is Colby. Um, I just say it because, yeah, like the character is one thing, but like the dude behind Seth Rollins too is probably thinking and feeling a lot of things sometimes, but he always goes out there and he puts on a show, and we never see it in the fan sense of like, oh, okay, like yeah, this dude, like, yo, he's about to lose this match. Like you never know. You never know. So props to him, man. And obviously, like I fucking love Punk. So uh props to Rollins, man. Like, and I've always been a Seth Rollins fan, but I just think that sometimes he doesn't get the love or the credit that he should. So props to him and thank you, Seth, and the real dude, you know what I mean? Like, thank you for doing what you do, man, and for breaking your back out there and just really just like putting everything he has into this. Because he also, when he leaves and he's not on the road, right? When he goes back home, like he trains, like he has a professional wrestling school that he runs and he helps train at. So this dude eats, sleeps, and breathes professional wrestling. So we're lucky to have him. We are lucky to have him. But that is the recap. Again, it ended up going an hour even by myself. I figured it'd be a little bit longer, but um, I really enjoyed Raw on Netflix. I'm hopeful for the weeks coming forward. I'm excited to see what time frame they kind of stick with, like the rough average. I thought the Intuit Dome looked beautiful, but of course that's like I think the newest arena, if not then one of. So of course it's gonna be like super fancy and everything. But even just the weeks coming up, I think the production is gonna be on point, and I'm just excited to see the setup, and if we're gonna get like that smaller stage setup, or if again that was just for the Intuit or what with the fans in the back and everything. I thought that was a pretty cool touch, and normally stuff they only do for like Royal Rumble or it's like stadium shows. So it'd be cool to see their production and then how they do even like the camera shots, for instance, like that 360 drone shot. That was really cool too for Jay's entrance. So I'm excited to see what they do going forward and even to see what happens on SmackDown. I think we need some development with the Bloodline 2.0 version now with Solo, Jacob. Like they need to call them out for losing all these matches. So I hope we get some type of continuation or a progression, really, from continuation in the Bloodline, but progression in that portion of it is what I'll say. So if you made it this long, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. I'll be back live at some point. But again, thank you guys so much. Feel free to like, definitely comment though. I would love to know your thoughts until we're live again. But as always, just thank you so much for the support and viewing. I really appreciate it. And until next time, guys, stay safe out there and just enjoy some wrestling, guys. Take care.